You see, I believe that sleep research is the past. And what Dr. Eden and I are working on here is the future. Our focus is on dreams.
How you doing today, Steve?
How you doing, Grant? We have remarkably similar backgrounds.
That we do. I'm a big physical media proponent, so I love always putting that on display in my interviews, and and even horror, especially horror stuff. So I'm thrilled to chat with you about All Hallows Eve, Inferno. I watched it earlier today and was really quite gripped from start to finish. I loved the way. Yes, I love the way it weaved in between the stories and the frame narrative, which that's actually what I'd love to start with asking about is where did the idea for the frame narrative come about? Because I always find it curious how anthologies come up with those.
Well, it's for me to really answer that question, I have to kind of tell you exactly what All Hallows Eve Inferno and All Hallows Eve Trickster is. A few months ago, well, actually over a year ago, wonderful friend of mine and constituent, Jesse Baget of Ruthless Pictures, he had come to me and asked me if I knew anyone to, help him fill out the runtime for All Hallows Eve Trickster. And I told him that I knew of some cool pre-existing shorts, and, they delivered, and he put out All Hallows Eve Trickster. And I said jokingly to him, I said, if you let me pick all of the shorts, it would be kick-ass, right? And then he called me about 6 months later. He's like, did you mean what you said? I'm like, dude, I don't remember what I said Tuesday, Yeah, I meant what I said. And he said, well, do you want to do it? So I thought about it, and I'm like, let me get back to you so I can find an angle that would interest me, because with the success of things like Terrifier and stuff like that, I still have an email box filled with people who want to work with me in one way or another. And I'm trying to be very selective of what I do. And of course, a lot of people, they're like, well, some of them are just straight up honest with you. Like, we just want to use your name. And I'm like, no, man, that's my name. That's like the most personal thing I have, right? So I thought about it, and I called back Jesse, and I'm like, listen, why don't we do this? Indie filmmakers, they always start with horror shorts, right? And the problem with horror shorts, when you're making an independent film and you have a short film, is they have a very finite life expectancy. You do your festival run, and maybe you're featured on a website or two, and then your film goes and dies on Vimeo or YouTube. You gotta hope that somebody comes across it. And the problem with even coming across it is because filmmaking has gotten so easy. You can literally make a movie on your MacBook nowadays. Doesn't mean you should, but you can. And there's a lot of white noise out there. So I started thinking, what would happen if we took these shorts that have already been filmed, that aren't doing anything, collected them, and put them into an anthology, just being exactly what they are, like a short film program that anyone could have right in their house. Because there's a whole part globally, especially the United States, that whole swath of middle America that, these film festivals don't happen at. And what would be cool about doing that is it gives these young filmmakers who have these incredible projects a new platform in which to reach a wider audience. And that angle really excited me, because one of the things I miss about doing Dread Central was being able to help the indie filmmaker, as I always did. And the prospect of being able to put these movies and give them a second life with a bunch of other films that will complement them in terms of quality and everything else, that was exciting to me. So when it came to the wraparound, this is my really long way of answering that question. Sorry.
You're good.
One of the things I wanted to consciously do is not overshadow the short films, So we have an artist who works in Unreal 5, and he took a basic idea and he gave us avenues in which to plug in the shorts. And that's really what it is, man. It's a chance to give these, filmmakers a second life. And hopefully, as with the original All Hallows Eve, the right people see it and they get to make a feature version based on their product. And that's another thing I was very adamant about. And Jesse echoed this, that it was important. Whoever is contributing their short, they have full control of their IP. I don't want them to give it to anybody. They created it, they deserve it. And the reason for that is I've seen so many things over the years where, you know, a feature film is made on a short, is based on a short that the same director did, that they can't even include the short on the DVD because of rights problems. And I think that's stupid. So this seemed like a pretty good way to key in and kind of streamline the process and make it good for everybody.
I love hearing that. That's a great way to really support the community, and I mean you've chosen a great selection with this film, and I'd love to hear which short. I mean, obviously you don't necessarily want to pick one above them all, but I would love to hear if there was one short in particular that when you saw it you were like, oh, I have to get this one right now.
I think you know what? I kind of had that reaction to all of them, but for different reasons. You know, some of them told a good visual tale. Some of them told a good psychological tale. And it was a process, man. When I put out a call for shorts, you know, you never know what you're going to get. And I got like 900 something responses. And I watched every damn one of them because when I say I'm going to do something, I put my heart in it and I do it. So I owed it to the filmmakers who sent their shorts in to be watched. And I picked a good handful of them. And the thing with short films is being why it was important for me to watch is I was able to group them in terms of quality, in terms of genre, if need be, you know, like there's a werewolf one out right now that's on Tubi that I'm really proud of. So there's a bunch of different ways to do it. And the advantage of doing it was only to be able to watch them all and figure out where they would belong, you know? And short films are a really mixed bag. You got people that tell a good story, but maybe don't have a good budget, or maybe you have a budget that looks great, but you don't have a good story. So kind of figuring out what belongs with what was like playing Tetris, you know? And because if you take a short film that looks like it cost $20 million and you put it in the same collection with a short film that's obviously a much lower budget, you're not really doing anything any favors, or anyone any favors, I should say. So, and that was another reason why I decided to make the wraparound as slightly intrusive as possible, you know?
No, it's a good approach. So then how did you go about narrowing down what the runtime would be? Because that's another thing is that, you know, anthologies could be 2 hours, they could be an hour and a half. How did you kind of figure that one out?
Well, believe it or not, COVID taught me a lot of stuff. Other than being an absolute nightmare to live through, it also changed the medium a lot. And all of a sudden we were seeing films that were an hour long. Like a good example is Jed Shepard's Host that he did, which was only an hour. So to me, to tell a story, it only takes as long as it needs to tell that story. A lot of times indie filmmakers, when they're submitting to festivals, a lot of film festivals don't want a short that's over 11 minutes. So there are other shorts out there that are great, that are like 15, 20, whatever. And you have to pay them the same amount of attention. It doesn't really matter in the home video field, especially with anthologies, because we live in a very ADD society. So people will watch one segment, then pause it, then go back and watch the rest. You know, it's interesting. And the overall goal was to find the best bits of bite-sized entertainment possible and present it in a way where the viewer just has some fun and gets to watch some cool shit, man. I mean, I do this because I'm selfish. I like watching cool shit. So I wanted to give that experience into the place of the viewers. I hope that answered your question because I feel like I'm rambling.
No, you're good. That totally answered my question. So I love it. So with this sort of goal in mind that you have for the franchise, I'm curious, you know, it's been a year since the last one, and it seems like now you guys might be able to put them out every year. Are you going to kind of keep that ball rolling going into future installments?
It depends. You know, it's very nice to see the fairy tale happen, to see these filmmakers getting their chance to see their stuff made by a wider audience. And if a lot of people watch it and a lot of people dig it, even if it's just watching it on Tubi, man, if enough people watch it and there's proof that there's demand for it, then I'll keep doing it for as long as I can. You know, getting indie, because you don't know where the next Carpenter, Romero, whomever is coming from, but the odds are pretty damn good it's going to come from the indie horror community, because it kind of always has, you know? So I feel doing this is important, and I consider the curation of these shorts in all of the anthologies I've worked on one of the most important things I did, because if my name is going to be used for anything, I want it to be used for helping the indie filmmaker. I've laid that groundwork. I just want people to jump on it.
Well, I hope you get the chance to keep doing that with future installments, because I've definitely, after this one, I'm definitely in. And I see I have time for one more question, so I did also want to ask really quickly. You alluded to it earlier. We know you've been a part of the Terrifier franchise a little bit, and Damien came from All Hallows Eve. So did you talk to him at all when going into this one about trying to maybe sneak art into this one?
Damien is so busy doing what he does, it would have been impossible. And I am so happy for them. I released the first film, I executive produced the second one, and I'm thrilled for the success they found with the third, either with or without me. But he has so much going on. His future is so bright. I can't wait to see what he does. That being said, hey, you want to make a little cameo here and then, I'd be open to it. I ain't gonna argue. But I think what's happening for the genre right now is we're in the best spot we've been in a long, long time. And I just hope to see it keep going, and I'll further it in any way that I can.
That's what I like to hear as a horror genre fan. So I'm going to keep supporting this franchise as much as I can as well. And I look forward to getting the word out about this one. So Steve, thank you so much for taking the time to chat with me, man. I really do appreciate it.
It's totally my pleasure. And please send me a link to your review. I'm easy to find on social media. Send me a link to whatever you cover so I could retweet it and share it and do whatever it needs to do to help give this project and projects like it its best chance of getting legs.
I will be happy to do so. And in the meantime, I hope you have a great weekend and a great Halloween, in case I don't contact you before then.
Hey, creepy brother.
Kai, it's Ama. She's gone. You know how much she cared for you, how much she taught you. It's your time.